¿Qué tal amigos? Welcome to another edition of LatiNation Football Club, and today it's a great day. I'm a little bit sad because all of my teams failed to advance into the next round of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We also going to be talking with Nik Z later on in the show about Champions League, and our update of the National Women's Soccer League will be coming with Camelia Ortiz, and a surprise because she has an interview with the one and only Melissa Ortiz, ex-professional player, Olympian, and a great example for all of those women that are representing what is important in the women's game. But let's come back to what is right now burning the headlines all across the MLS sphere. Chiva Mayor is here with me, the expert on the matter. He's probably as hurt as I am for the debacles that we'll get to that a little later. Pumas failed, LAFC failed, Galaxy failed. So LatiNation Football Club hosts are out and about, not anymore in the CONCACAF. But let's talk about of the first quarterfinal game. Cruz Azul contra América. El clásico joven. América no pudo lograr otro campeonato. Chiva, what are your thoughts? Cruz Azul is the favorite team to win this cup?
I believe so, man. It was a very intense game. We all know that for many years, Cruz Azul haven't been able to beat America on knockout rounds, and finally they were able to, take that away and win a really good game. I think it was a very very nice good game. Sepulveda coming in strong, giving Cruz Azul the advance for the semifinals and the Conca Champions. And man, America, they've been winning everything, but Conca Champions they just can't.
It's a tournament that definitely has not been graceful to America, losing famously to LAFC, now to Cruz Azul. They will have to go back to the drawing board. Another game that turned out to be really exciting at the end was Tigres versus Galaxy. Galaxy facing one of the hardest periods of their history, 7 games without winning in the league after being the champions, a negative record that you don't want. Now they go face Tigres. They seem to have an opportunity, but they let that go. Tigres advances. Chiva, what is happening with Galaxy? It's a team that should have a lot more potential, but things don't seem to be gelling.
I mean, just like Nick says every time, man, is there's a lot of injuries. Key players are not in the team right now. But look, man, they give a good fight. They give a good fight in Tigres and Monterrey. Tigres got nervous at times because Galaxy was pushing forward pretty good. But at the end of the day, they're not delivering. They won the championship, and it seems like it hurt them more than it helped them to grow. But let's see, man. Again, the MLS season is young. They still have a lot to go, and unfortunately for them, they're out of the Conca Champions.
Yeah, and Tigres advances. Tigres, Diego Lainez, after the game, one of his statements was that this was a very difficult team, that is one of the biggest teams in MLS, and they put up a good fight. You're right, Chiva. So now we have set up Cruz Azul contra Tigres, a really, really important game. What are your predictions? Who do you think has an edge on this encounter?
I think that Cruz Azul has a better team right now. At this moment, they have a better team. Vicente Sanchez has only lost one game since he, came with Cruz Azul. And on the other hand, I think Tigres has been struggling with a new coach. I think that, Guignac is not there no more. He's not playing. Even though they have some young players, exciting players too, I think that they're not going to be able to beat Cruz Azul, and Cruz Azul is going to advance to a final.
On the other side of the bracket, the heartbreak bracket, I will call it. 8 years ago, we were promised a team that was supposed to fight, that was supposed to go out and you know impose their style of play, to be a team with the ball, and now we find ourselves parking the bus at the beginning of the second half. Boanga ineffective, not other games he was really bad about sharing the ball. Today, last night he shared the ball wrong every single time, every shot that he needs to do. Tell me, please, what is going on in LAFC, and does Dolo needs to, does his position as a coach needs to be re-examined?
Should be. At the end of the day, I think it was for the way I see it, Dolo make a lot of mistakes. For example, the fact that they parked the bus right away, not taking Tillman out, and instead of under Tillman should have come out and Segura come in and play some midfield. He has done before. He has done a great job. You know, Martinez in the bench, unbelievable. Nobody could believe that he didn't go in because for a counter attack, he's a perfect player. You know, you will see the forwards putting pressure outside of our own box, which was crazy to me, especially when you're playing against a team like Miami that offensively they're very strong, but defensively they're very weak. In 3 minutes we created chances that we could go score the goal to advance, but at the end of the day, it didn't happen. And I think it's time for Dolo to ciao man, to look for another team. I think JT has a responsibility in this as well. And let's not talk about Lloris, because that player that has a more experience in the field is the one that cost us 2 goals in my book. And I think that things have to change. And fans are not happy at all, man, because we should have advanced, even though it was against Messi. Never park the bus. You said something like a key word. We always said that we're gonna be a team that was gonna play their style anywhere they go. They're not doing it anymore, and that's the main reason why we have lost so many finals with this coach.
I love that you bring that up, Chiva, because if you look at the track record of important games, the games that define a legacy team, anything can win games, but only legacy teams know how to win the important games that move you forward. Like Miami. Miami faced themselves 3 goals, a pit that could only be defeated by scoring 3 unanswered goals, and they were able to put it. And they will say, yes, they have Messi, but the reality is that LAFC had plenty of chances to put this game away in the first half. So for me to see as a journalist, you see what the situation of LAFC right now and the promise of that team and what it's supposed to represent for MLS. You have a team that has lost probably the 5 of the last 7 games in the league, that has been eliminated very early for their standards in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And to be honest, there is no hope that this team will put together an idea of play that will change the course of this. So I agree with you. I think that John Thornton has a lot of thinking to do, because it might be the time to give LAFC a change. And with that, I'm going to move on to another heartbreak, just to compound. Just turn the volume up of my anger right now, because we're going to go to Pumas versus Vancouver. Now, I'm going to give my Pumas a break because Vancouver is demonstrating that they're the top team in MLS. Chiva, share with me, how do you feel about Vancouver? Do you think that they will be Miami and they will prove that they are the best team in MLS?
Like I said, man, Miami's weakness is the defense, and but I feel like Vancouver's what they were strong for is playing defense. So I think that they should advance against Miami, even though, again, when you have Messi on the field, things can change in 5 minutes. But they should be very capable of doing it. It's gonna be tough matches for both. Man, the fact that they eliminated Pumas and Mexico, it's something big. And now we're gonna have a Mexico USA final for sure. But yeah, I do see Vancouver advancing.
I agree. I think Vancouver showed that they are a team that is very mature. Pumas had the game. They had the control of the game, although they started losing with a very early goal. They had an almost immediate response with a header that was so incisive. And I thought, like, you know what? I'm going to relax. Little did I know that former Black and Gold member Blackmon will come on the 93rd minute and score a banger of a goal in the small box. Alex Padilla, he has been hot and cold all season. I would not put it on him, but I think he could have done a little bit more on that play. Chiva, I know that you are going somewhere special. Tell me a little bit, what are you going to be doing this weekend?
I'm gonna go to Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, and I want to bring you guys a little bit of the most passionate clásico in Mexico, Chivas Atlas. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and hopefully I can bring you some good videos so that you can see what I'm talking about.
We are going to be very excited to see how the Clásico Tapatío is lived. It's going to be great. Chivas contra Atlas, cultural landmark in Mexican soccer. And with that, we say goodbye, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Nik Z talking about Champions League. Exciting games. Chiva, we'll remember you. We'll pour one for you and the Real Madrid, because they have a very steep hill to climb. We go on a break. I'm Marcelino Ortiz, and we'll be right back.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion
Right.
and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, we need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
These guys are barreling everything right now that are hitting well. Pitching is usually ahead of hitting this time of year, but torpedo bats is what we're reading about, Tom, and I think it's hilarious.
Will the pitching be out in front, or are the bats actually this strong? So it's going to develop over the course of weeks. And again, if all teams have the ability to do so, be creative with it and get out there and use it.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
After every round, you guys were still up in each other's face, mouthing off before you went back to your corners, trying to get not just the last punch, but the last word. What was the move between you guys? Obviously, you're in there for your fright.
It didn't cut him. It didn't stunt him. A point wasn't taken away. There's no reason to even mention something like that. You're in a brawl. Things are happening. Accidents happen.
Only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and I am with my very good friend and trusty collaborator, expert on all things European soccer, Nik Z. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. We are in the thick of the UCL season, coming to the end, and it is so exciting. I couldn't be happier because Galaxy are a real pain in my you-know-what.
Chiva and I, we discussed Conca Champions in the previous segment. We miss you. But I know you're a busy person. Are you sad about Galaxy? What's happening with Galaxy, Nick?
Yeah, how could you not be? Going from setting records in terms of how many titles you've won to how many you've lost in the beginning of the season as the title holder. It's not what you want to see your team do, but I gotta say, in this magnificent loss against Tigres, I have to say that there were signs of life. Paint Sill is coming back. I mean, it's feeling good. It's feeling good. I'm hopefully optimistic. How could I not be?
Let's move to more exciting things, because the most beautiful tournament, the highest level of soccer, the Champions League. Nick, what a bunch of games we had this week. Let's start by the blockbuster. Let's not bury the lead, as they say in the journalism world. Arsenal surprising everyone. Like I said last week, 3 goals against Real Madrid. They are against the ropes. Tell me, what's your take on this entertaining game?
I couldn't have been further away from the truth. I said they got it in them. They just don't have this attack up front to really put the goals away against a giant like Real Madrid. Well, boy, did they prove me wrong. I mean, outstanding performance, first of all, by Arsenal. Overall, huge step forward for them in the semifinals. I will say, all about midfielder Declan Rice, though. I mean, those 2 free kicks were absolutely beautiful. I mean, in their own right, each one of them. But to score 2 in like 12 minutes apart, first of all, no one's ever done that in the knockout stages before. So he's setting records on that stage, but he's bringing back this beautiful Roberto Carlos, these bend it like Beckham moments that I was not expecting, and it blew my mind. They deserved the win. The win, rather. And what else is there to say? I mean, what's on your mind coming out of that match?
Real Madrid is getting exposed, right? This is a team that somehow magically is able to put these performances together that keeps saving them. But the reality is that, week after week, the weakness of this group is showing. There's rumors that Ancelotti might be, done in this cycle. But if they go out at this stage of the tournament, it will be definitely a failure. Real Madrid should be making the finals for the amount of money that they spend, for the, just the team that they are. but I am happy that I was correct on my assessment. Arsenal is with, I will say, a foot and a half on the next round. And then we go to another game, which results were as expected. Inter 2-1 over Bayern Munich. Nick, what's your analysis on that game?
Coming out of that game, I was like, Muller really needs that one more year in his contract. He was great. He was a great leader. Okay, they didn't come out on top, but as a sub at his age, I mean, he's just, he's doing great. Look, there is some hope for Bayern coming into the second leg. They were the dominant team throughout the game, but Inter looking so good. They are slated for me to be the team in the finals. Maybe you want to ask me with who later on. I don't want to get too into that, but there's a lot of reasons why I think Inter Milano has this in the bag if they can stay consistent and they can just keep doing what they're doing because it's working for them.
Without a doubt, Lautaro Martinez is leading the attack of what might be a surprise on the second leg. I wouldn't be ruling out Milan. So if you want to put an interesting parlay, there you have it. Now, another game that has no surprises. This is the best team in the competition, the highest level, the highest intensity, the most prolific players. Barcelona 4-0 over Borussia Dortmund. Nick, are we for sure seeing Barcelona lift the trophy at the end of the season?
I really think so. And that's the other team that I think Inter might be heading up against in the finals if everything goes how I'm thinking it will. Look, the front three that they have, Yamal, Lewandowski, Rafinha as well. I mean, they're absolutely unstoppable. Their chemistry, the beauty. I mean, it is so Barcelona. It is the Eto'o, Messi Barcelona of yesteryear that I remember really well. And it's just this beautiful, well-oiled machine. And they're doing so great. And Yamal, he freaks me out. This guy's a teenager. The confidence that he's having, the goals that he's scoring in the Champions League semifinals. Get out of here. 4-0. It was expected. Of course, Dortmund's dealing with a lot of problems of their own. They got a lot of injuries, right, that they're dealing with. So look, no one expected too much from them, but Barcelona just proving why, to answer your question, they're going straight for the finals, in my opinion. I mean, especially with those three up front, unstoppable.
Without a doubt, Dortmund is not an easy team, and yet Barcelona was able to steamroll them. Now, let's move to what some in the betting world are calling the favorites, underdogs, to win this tournament. A tournament that has always been difficult for Paris Saint-Germain. PSG demonstrating that this might be the year that they finally get the Orejona, Nick. 3-1 over Aston Villa. And Aston Villa that, it's been decades before they reach this stage of the competition, that they play at this level. We were very hopeful for them, but PSG is just at another level. Dembélé, talk to me. What's your analysis of this surprising performance by the Parisians?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the great players, but I think bigger picture, Luis Enrique, I think should be given credit for transforming this PSG team from a group of individuals, especially, the post-Mbappe PSG, right? These amazing individual stars to a beautiful team that just plays so well together. And yeah, I mean, the numbers are behind them. I mean, this is the team that's won the last 4 Ligue 1 titles in a row. So I mean, yeah, of course, they're coming in hot in their own domestic league, and in the UCL, they're just playing absolutely beautifully. And they got a lot of momentum behind them, and I can see them going far as well.
Thank you, Nick, for your precise analysis week in and week out. We'll be here in a couple of weeks to analyze the results of the semifinals. And you at home, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have an exclusive interview with Melissa Ortiz, former professional player, now standout broadcaster, also an Olympian. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in LatiNation Football Club.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Ortiz, former professional soccer player and Olympian for the Colombian women's national team, now turned broadcaster and analyst, and I'm here with LatiNation Football Club. Women's soccer is continuing to grow, in my opinion, at an exponential rate, which is great, especially in key cities. I mean, you have Angel City, who packs out stadiums, San Diego Wave, Kansas City Current, likewise in Europe in the WSL. And it just makes me so excited for what the future holds.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Welcome back to LatiNation Football Club, and I'm very excited because Camelia Ortiz is here with us, and she has a great update about all the international activity that happened this weekend with the women's game. We had great games. The U.S. versus Brazil, un clásico del fútbol femenil. Camelia, thank you for being here.
What's up, everybody? I'm super excited to report back about this women's international games. We took a quick pause with the NWSL and we tuned into super exciting matches. I mean, we played all over the world this weekend. There were games in Japan, there were games here. We were seriously all over. First game I want to focus on is the first game in between the Brazilian national team and the U.S. national team. You know, at first, the U.S. women's national team, they came out strong. They're a classic powerhouse. They ended up winning 2-0. The second game on Tuesday, however, the U.S. women's national team came out strong, scoring in only 36 seconds. But, you know, shortly after Brazil came out, they scored again, and they ended up scoring the second goal later on in the second half, and the game ended 2-1.
Tell me about Colombia. I know this is one of the most exciting teams to watch around the world in the women's game. What was the result this weekend?
Japan ended up coming out on top 6-1. So I was extremely disappointed by Colombia's performance. I think defensively they looked weak. They were completely destroyed, if I'm being honest. And the offense was, again, just really non-existent in that second match.
Excellent, Camelia. Thank you for your report. And I know you had the opportunity to interview a very, very special guest of LatiNation Football Club. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the incredible opportunity to interview Melissa Ortiz. Although we have the same last name, I promise we are not related, but she is like family here at LatiNation Football Club. She gave some great intel. I got the inside scoop. And yeah, it was an incredible interview.
Melissa Ortiz, as many of you know, is one of the most decorated sport broadcasters right now in the game. She's also a former Olympian and a former professional player. Camelia, please show us this beautiful piece that you made.
Hi, Melissa. I'm Camelia Ortiz here at LatiNation Football Club. We're super excited to have you here. And, you know, starting off our first question, for all the young viewers out there, can you tell us a little bit about the first time you fell in love with soccer and what made you know that you wanted to pursue this professionally as a career?
The moment that I fell in love with soccer, I think, was from the moment that I was able to walk and kind of kick the ball at, I don't know, 3, 4 years old, when you're able to like dribble cutely. That's really my moment. I had 2 older brothers that always had the ball, whether it was in the house or outside. And I always just wanted to be with the ball at my feet and play soccer.
What would you tell other young female players who dream about going professional one day?
Women's soccer is continuing to grow, in my opinion, at an exponential rate, which is great, especially in key cities. I mean, you have Angel City, who packs out stadiums, San Diego Wave, Kansas City Current, likewise in Europe in the WSL. And it just makes me so excited for what the future holds. And so I think that, with the growth of the global game, I think on the women's side, it has so much potential.
Potential is the perfect word to describe it. Speaking about how the game is evolving, especially in the women's game around the world, how would you say that your particular style of play differs from the current day NWSL style?
My playing style was very Colombian. I grew up in South Florida playing a lot of what we would say pichanga or pickup soccer with the boys. And so I like to be technical or like 1-2 passes, give and go. And I think my style of play really suited not only South America, but probably if we were comparing to this day and age, Spain or Mexico. So when I compare my style of play, I wasn't like that Steve woman. I gotta say that. I gotta be honest with myself. I wish. But I definitely had a really, really unique technical style of play. And man, I loved taking free kicks. That was definitely one of my favorite things to do.
Who would you say was your toughest opponent playing on the field?
My toughest opponent, I got to state the obvious, the U.S. women's national team. I mean, for years, that's why they have been the powerhouse and most dominant national team in the world, apart for the 2023, Women's World Cup, Spain being so dominant. And then, some other World Cups. But if you look at in the long term, U.S. women's have always just been so good. So they were the hardest opponent to go up against, and you just knew, like, damn, you might walk away from this one with the L. That's a terrible way to walk into a game, but they were just always so good.
Thank you, Camila, and thank you, Melissa, for being part of LatiNation Football Club. And with that, we come to the end of this edition. But for you at home, our MVP. Thank you. Thank you for spending this time with our team. Chiva, Nik, Camila, and myself, Marcelino Ortiz, say thank you. And we'll be waiting for you next time. We'll have so much more because we go back to MLS, we go back to Liga MX, and we wait patiently for the next round of Champions League. More to come. This is LatiNation Football Club, and I will see you next time.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.